The song was Lost in Love. The year was 1980. I'm Russell Hitchcock.
And I'm Graham Russell, and we're Air Supply, and these are the sounds of the time.
Like many future rock stars, Graham Russell was inspired as a young boy by a certain fab foursome.
I was a Beatle maniac, so when I finally got to see them, my whole life changed. I went, oh wow, this is what I need to do.
In Australia, young Russell Hitchcock saw the Beatles too, but was slightly less galvanized.
I never considered a career in music at all. I dropped out of high school and I worked in department stores and offices.
In 1975, both Russell and Hitchcock found themselves in the Australian cast of Jesus Christ Superstar.
We were thrown together. There are 12 apostles, as everyone knows, and all the apostles were split up into pairs, and Russell became we were a pair. Then we realized that we had the same name, we were born 3 days apart, and we both saw the Beatles when we were 14 years old, myself in England and Russ in Australia. So there was some commonality there, which gave us a common ground to create a friendship.
After Jesus Christ Superstar, the pair formed a band with bass guitarist Jeremy Paul and were signed by an Australian record label.
We recorded 2 tracks for A and B side of a single, but we didn't have a name, and the record company said, we need a name by a certain time to release this record. That night, I dreamt of this big billboard, and then it had 2 words in black. It said Air Supply, and I didn't really know what it meant, but we talked about it, and since it was the only name we had to go with it.
Air Supply's sound was a perfect fit for the increasingly popular soft rock genre.
We're both romantic, so I think the orchestral part of that and the lush, they used to say lush, string arrangements.
We subliminally created our sound without knowing it, We didn't sit down and say, let's create and record romantic songs. It's like Russell's life and childhood and mine, totally different, opposite sides of the world. But coming together, it created this synergy.
Air Supply enjoyed some early success in Australia and New Zealand.
We opened for Rod Stewart for 6 months in '77, which was a huge break for us. No other Australian band had ever done that. Opened for the biggest act in the world. We opened for Rod. We came back to Australia, and we thought we would get the heroes welcome, but of course everybody had forgotten all about us.
And when I was going through customs, I was hearing all these girls screaming. I thought, wow, this is great. So of course the doors open and they're all holding up signs of another band.
We had to start again. Russ, you were working in a sandwich shop or something, weren't you?
I did everything.
While Hitchcock held odd jobs, Russell secluded himself and worked on new music.
And I wrote some songs, and in those songs was All Out of Love, Lost in Love, and Chances. And I called Russell up and I said, I think I've got some cool songs here. And I remember actually the first time we sang Lost in Love. When we started to sing it, we just fell into this beautiful 2-part harmony. But we never plan what we're going to sing, we just sing it.
So lift your eyes if you feel you can. Reach for a star and I'll show you a plan.
Lost in Love was a big hit in Australia, New Zealand too, in 1978. So there was a 2-year gap before it found its way to Clive Davis.
Clive Davis was the powerful founder of Arista Records in New York.
As soon as he heard it, he contacted us and said, there's something going on here. I'd like to meet and see who you are.
Davis arranged for a new version of Lost in Love and released it as a single.
I saw this magazine in the street, and on the front cover it said, Lost in Love, destined to go all the way, And I thought, my first thought was that somebody had recorded a song called Lost in Love, and so I was very disheartened. And it said, turn to page 5, and I turned to page 5, and there's a picture of Russell and I there. And then I went, whoa, and I freaked out. So I called Russell, and I called Clive Davis. He said, we need the album. He said, Lost in Love's going to be the biggest hit of the year. And I was like, whoa, And of course, he was right. So that changed everything at that moment.
Air Supply had several more hits and joined the throng of bands who toured the world in the 1980s.
And used to cross paths with people of different genres, and it was just, the camaraderie was great. It didn't matter if you played heavy metal or whatever. It was just a great achievement to be doing what you were doing.
But while they enjoyed great success, Air Supply never enjoyed any respect.
We had the #1 record with The One That You Love, and I opened a Rolling Stone because I wanted to see it in Rolling Stone. They took it out. They wouldn't put Air Supply as #1 on Rolling Stone. And we had the biggest song in the world. Because we weren't cool, you know. I mean, we're still not cool. We've never been cool.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about us. We've never been cool. We stay together because we love what we do. And we're very fortunate to be where we are in almost our 43rd year playing. Very few bands get to do that. We each take our roles very seriously. And it's great because I get to take care of the music. Russell comes in and he sings.
Graham doesn't want to be the lead singer. I'm not 6'5" and never will be.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen now.